Hey there, I'm Anthony Romano, and I'm going to explain to you in this video how to get shredded without feeling like shit the whole time. So, excuse me if the audio quality isn't as good. I'm not using my Snowball this time. I'm using these headphones because my camera's low, and this video just feels right now. So, I'm going to explain basically the approaches and the reasons why getting shredded will feel like shit and how to avoid that. So, if you've seen my other videos, you know I love keto, I love fasting, and I ultimately would recommend something along those lines to get shredded opposed to the typical calorie diets a lot of people do. However, I'm going to explain the reasons why so that you can incorporate the principles from those tactics to whatever the hell you want to do. So, when we're looking at why people feel like shit when they're dieting, okay, as I've explained in plenty of other videos, the main reason people feel crappy and hungry and fatigued and cranky, hangry, all that stuff when they're dieting is because primarily blood sugar. When your blood sugar is low, you are going to feel all of those symptoms. You're going to feel hangry, cranky, tired. You're going to need a nap, okay? You're also going to need friends who really like you because you're probably going to unload on them for some reason because you don't have the blood sugar craving that you want fulfilled. So the primary way to avoid that's the first thing, is stabilize your blood sugar. And for a lot of people, that means switching to a keto or fasting oriented diet. That's because keto and fasting help you to stabilize your blood sugar and basically prevent any spikes and falls, which is what a lot of carb diets will leave you with. Now, granted, that doesn't mean you have to eliminate carbs for any diet entirely, but I do think that is the best route to go, especially because I have the clients to back it up. I have people, I have experience with people, experience with myself. You can watch my own self experiments of intentionally getting fat just to shred it off type of thing in months, that type of thing. But the main reason here, along with blood sugar peaks and falls, is that when you are in a caloric deficit, right, your body is naturally craving energy, right? We have a metabolism where your body's going to churn through the same number of calories every day. It doesn't care if you get it from food or if you get it from your stores of body fat. So essentially, when you allow your body to tap into the ketogenic metabolism through fasting or keto, essentially you are going to be giving your body an abundant resource to actually fulfill that calorie goal it has every day. And when you're in a carb metabolism, what's going to happen is your body is going to be constantly seeking carbs because it's currently running on that fuel. It hasn't gotten the message yet that you're switching over. So essentially that's the personified way to put it. But in reality, there's basically it's like an engine. Okay, it's like an engine. Your body has two engines, and as I always say, your body just wants to know, are we using carbs, are we using fat, right? And clearly we store plenty of fat for that purpose. Our body is designed to tap into it as a fuel source. So when we're in the deficit, what's going to happen is your body is going to be deprived of nutrition, right? Because if you're eating less food, it doesn't matter, if you're eating quote unquote healthy, you're going to be hungry. So part of the emphasis on nutrition there is if you eat more nutrient dense foods, so by nutrients, the ones that most people are deficient in are the fat soluble vitamins. Okay, you can write that down. Fat soluble vitamins. Fat soluble vitamins are A, E, D, and K. The ones that affect people most when they're dieting are A, D, and K. And when you're somebody who is dieting with carbs in place, you are relying primarily on your energy source as carbs. You cannot get A, D, and K from carbs. They're fat soluble. They only exist in fatty foods, which is another reason why ketogenic diets are, again, more conducive to not feeling like shit when you're in a calorie deficit. Okay, so another linchpin that I like to stick into this conversation is the Minnesota starvation experiment. So the Minnesota starvation experiment was an experiment done decades ago where people were basically starved, where they're eating intense calorie deficit, except they were still on a carb metabolism. This is what kept them, like, these people were the epitome of feeling like shit. These people were cranky. They were fantasizing, dreaming about food. They were constantly in a carb metabolism, but in a low blood sugar state, especially when the carbs they were getting were spiking their blood sugar. It wasn't veggies, it wasn't slow burning carb, it was stuff that was going to keep their blood sugar elevated. And if you are not going to make the switch to keto or a fasting oriented approach, you really do have to use slow burning carbs, because if you use carbs that are going to spike your blood sugar through the roof, you are going to feel terrible. And depending on how athletic you are, you might be able to get away with that. You might be able to get away with, a Snickers bar before a workout type thing, right? Because you're going to get that blood sugar spike and then use it immediately and then rebound back. But most people don't have that level of conditioning, metabolically or physically. So when we're looking at why you feel like shit, it's blood sugar and lack of nutrients. So one way to kind of counteract the blood sugar, we already know, is accessing the fasted state, accessing the keto state. But for nutrition, you need the fat-soluble vitamins, and they're far less prevalent on a carb diet because you're not getting many fats in general, let alone the nutrient-dense kinds, which is another reason why people will, stress fatty foods, or they'll say if you do keto, you have to eat fat all day long. You don't have to do this, but simply eating, more fish than you normally do, is going to provide you with way more than adequate amounts of fat-soluble vitamins to actually keep you full. Your body craves energy. An example, if somebody were to do a calorie diet of 2,000 calories and eat only carbs and sugar, what's going to happen is they're not getting any fat-soluble vitamins, in addition to the fact that their blood sugar is just, haywire. In addition to that, they're not getting nutrition. So their body detects the calorie energy influx, but from there, there's no nutrition with it. So your body is basically getting an influx of energy, which it's going to use because carbohydrates are very readily accessible. They're a luxury fuel for the body. And because there's no nutrition paired with it, it's going to perceive even more scarcity. It's going to perceive that you are in a state where the only food available was not dense in nutrients. Now, granted, that doesn't mean you can't get any nutrition from carbs, but the fat solubles are completely devoid in carb foods. So they will keep you more satiated, and they are something that will definitely be better if you incorporate them into a diet. If you're doing a carb diet and you are incorporating high quality fish, even some organ meats, right? Or even fish organ meats. If you're a vegetarian, I have vegetarians who use cod liver as a great nutrient source, and I personally love it because it tastes way better than other livers. And like if somebody lied to you and said this is like the most gourmet salmon in the world, you would believe them by eating cod liver, especially if they, prettied it up and stuff like that, and put a nice some leaves or something around there. I don't know. So when we're looking at combining carbs and fats, this is where people get kind of scared. They think, oh, if you add carbs and fats together, you're gonna gain 5 pounds immediately, and then you're gonna die, and your dick's gonna shrink at the same time. Essentially, when you combine saturated fat with carbs, it will actually slow the release of blood sugar. They are very stabilizing on your blood sugar. So this doesn't mean eat a diet of only carbs and fat. That is the opposite of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't be afraid of that. It will slow your blood sugar release, help you to avoid that sort of willpower and, hanger crash, and you'll also get a more sustained blood sugar release. Okay, so when we're looking, and you'll also get the nutrients as well, which will hopefully keep you more satiated. So another good argument here is when people think of satiety, or when people think of macros, they think calories, the calories in the fat, the calories in the protein. Fat has 9 calories a gram, so I should avoid those. I should cut those out from my diet. No, that is wrong. Fat has 9 calories a gram because it is literally double and more the energy per gram of carbs. Carbs have 4, fat has 9. You are getting double the energy source from 1 gram of food when you eat fats, which is another reason why you'll be more sustained and more satiated from adding in high quality fats, which is essentially one of the takeaways you could take away from this video is add high quality fats into your diet, like wild caught fish, things of that nature, high quality sources of foods that are fatty into your diet, because they will sustain you, they will satiate you, and they'll provide you nutrients. So if I need to take this video any other direction, it's add in high quality fats. They will sustain you, they will stabilize your blood sugar, and that's only for somebody who's not going to switch over to fasting or keto approaches. Essentially, you need blood sugar stabilization and you need nutrition. That is what's going to keep you full and not make you feel like shit on a diet of any sort, especially when you're in a energy scarcity, because anytime you cut calories below your maintenance, you are by nature, by the very fact that you are cutting energy, you are in an energy deficient state, and you need more nutrition, because the less nutrient dense foods you get on a low calorie diet, the more your body's going to crave them. Okay, you could write that down. Basically, the more you cut calories while still eliminating nutrients makes the diet even more shitty. So people will tell you, all that really matters is calories, but it's not the whole picture. That's a very unsophisticated way to look at fat loss and body goals, because essentially yes, you can lose weight on a diet like that, but it will feel like shit, and that's what we're trying to avoid here. So, of course, there are other tactics. There's fasted cardio. There's people who don't even like cardio, and they don't even do it fasted or anything of that nature, and you may be one of those people. But the point I'm trying to nail in your head here is add in the high-quality fats, and as long as your diet isn't just all fat, all carb, you won't experience any weight gain, especially in the context of a calorie deficit. So, hopefully this video was clear. Some tips on making calorie diets feel less like shit. Thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Romano. If you want to work together, go to my website. If you want some other questions answered that I didn't really address in this video, leave them down below, and also follow my Instagram, and check my website out for programs, free guides, things of that nature. Things with far more reference to scientific research than what I just spewed out in this video. So thank you, Anthony Romano. Peace.